Let's talk Cesar Ruiz and his pass protection issues. Now, he's terrible in the run game as well, but we're just going to focus on pass pro today. And in my opinion, the times that I see Cesar Ruiz get beat the cleanest, like this rep here, is when he is using a two-handed strike. Now, the problem with that for Ruiz is that's what he uses 99% of the time. He is primarily a two-handed striker in pass protection. Now, there is nothing, wrong with using a two-handed strike every once in a while, but the problem with Ruiz doing it is he just doesn't mix it up. Like, this is what he does over 95% of the time. And I guarantee you, when the defensive line for whatever team the Saints are playing that week gets their scouting reports, for number 51, it's going to say he is a primarily two-handed puncher. And when the defensive linemen read that, they're going to be licking their chops, because I don't know if you guys have ever seen defensive linemen train, but all they do is they train to beat the hands, because if you beat the hands, you beat the man. And when you use two-handed strikes, you are giving them both of your hands, like right here, right? When he throws both of his hands, the defender knocks him down, and then he just, swims over. And when you throw a two-handed strike and your hands get beat, that's it. You only have two of them, right? So there's just nothing else left for you to do to try and recover. Now, you may be thinking, well, what's the alternative? Well, the high-level NFL, or not, I shouldn't say NFL, high-level offensive line coaches are teaching independent hand usage. It's basically exactly what it sounds like. You're going to throw one hand at a time. Usually your first one's going to be aimed at the outside pec, and the inside hand is going to try and clamp underneath to try and protect from any inside moves. And I'll show you guys a couple of examples of that. But let's look at these clips of Cesar Ruiz here. So this clip right here, boom, two-handed punch, beat immediately off rip, right? And these are just clips from the first 2 weeks of the season. So here he is against Nick Bosa. Now, Nick Bosa is an edge player. They lined him up against Cesar Ruiz. What does that tell you, right? But anyways, again, and by the way, another one of his issues is his balance, or his center of gravity, but that kind of plays into the two-handed punch, because oftentimes when you throw that two-handed punch, you get overextended. And when you get overextended, what happens? You become off balance. That's exactly what happens here. So let me put this thing in slow-mo so we can watch it. Watch the details, okay? All right, check it out. Two-handed punch, overextends, hands are beat, and he's left having to do a spin cycle to try and get back. And then that's what happens with your quarterback, right? I mean, now let's look at it again. Now this play here, he gets lucky. The quarterback doesn't get hit. But watch again, the two-handed strike. This time I'm going against a 2-eye inside shade, okay? Watch the hands. Boom, two-hand strike. Guess what? Look at the defensive lineman. Get them off me. Get them off me. And when they're chopped, or when the hands are beat, there is nothing left for him to recover with. Boom. And we're beat clean. So the majority of times that I see him get beat, and again, these are just clips from the first 2 weeks. I could go back to last season and get a ton more, but you get the point. He doesn't switch his strikes up. Now let's look at some examples of what independent hand usage looks like. All right, so in this play, we can look at two Saints players, both on the left side. So let's look at Dylan Redun's first, the left guard. Now it's hard to tell from this angle with their backs facing us, but watch him. He's going to throw his inside hand first at that pec of the defender. Boom, right there. And then you can see his elbow. His hand is still down there protecting his outside, right? So watch now. Then he throws it, right? Independent hands. And look, the first hand he threw gets knocked off, but that's okay, because we still have our other hand locked on, because we didn't throw them at the same time, right? And we can just keep working from there, keep working from there, keep working from there. Okay. Now let's look at Kelvin Banks on the same exact play here. Watch him throw that outside strike to that outside pec. Boom, right there. And really, that's all the majority he's going to need for this rep. He just keeps his defender at bay. Eventually, he brings that inside hand to help him, but that's all he needs, right? So let's watch it just like full speed here. Boom, boom. Okay, here's another example of independent hands. Check out Banks again, right? Watch how he's going to throw his outside hand first, right? One punch at a time. Okay. Boom, right there. Then he's going to bring that inside hand up underneath to finish things off, right? So that's what independent hands should look like. Okay, now I want to take you guys back to 2022. This is the year that Cesar Ruiz was actually pretty good and earned a contract. And he was using independent hands. This is from a game against the Vikings. I believe they played in London. But I want you to pay attention to his hand usage here. I'm going to try to slow it down because, again, it's hard to see from this angle, right? But watch this. He is going to throw his inside hand first, right there. Inside hand is landed. Again, hard to see, I know, right? And then he's going to bring in that outside hand. So independent hand usage back in 2022 for Cesar Ruiz. Now, again here, now he's right here, okay? Watch, independent hand usage, okay? Let me just try to slow it down so it looks a little cleaner. Look him throw inside hand first, right? Not two-handed. Then he brings that inside hand and locks them both on. Right, so when we're using independent hands, once we are safe from any type of swipe, chop, anything like we are here, right, and we know for sure, then we can bring that other hand and we can latch two on, right? But when we throw two at one time, it gives us a higher probability of them getting beat at the same time and then us, getting our quarterback killed. All right, again here, this is another good example. Watch his hands. Look at this. He's waiting for the defender. He's going to shoot his outside hand first, right? It's landed right now. You can see the other hand still back, and then we can bring it in, right? Then we can bring it in. I mean, I don't know why he stopped using this technique. All right, and this here is a really good example, okay? So watch over here. Watch, he's going to throw his inside hand first. Boom. But then he brings back that outside hand to secure the defender. He was also mixing up and throwing in some two-handed like duo clamps is what you call them, like this right here. Now this is different than using a two-handed strike because two-handed strikes, you're going straight for the chest. But look how he brings both hands up underneath almost to clamp the lineman. So watch both his hands. They both go underneath right there and land at the same time. This is different from using a two-handed punch. Like he used to have so much like variations in the strikes that he threw. But now he's just a primary two-handed striker. Defensive line knows it, and his hands get beat, and then they end up getting to the quarterback. Now, what's funny is just a couple of days ago, Duke Manyweather, if you don't know who he is, he develops all types of offensive linemen, high-level offensive linemen, some of the best in the league, in the college. He's like the go-to guy for offensive line. He actually tweeted out that he can't believe how many coaches are still teaching or to primarily use a two-handed punch. And I'll put the tweet up on the screen if I can find it. And then I'll also put a video up that he tweeted one time. It's of, I can't remember the coach, but he's a pass rush specialist. And he's basically talking about how offensive linemen that use two-handed punches are the easiest to go against.
BT, what'd you just say about two-hand punches?
They're the easiest guys to go against.
So what you telling me is a two-hand strike is the easiest thing to go against?
The easiest. Because you beat both hands, now you beat the feet, it's over with.